interesting week and the week where we are going to discuss many issues, many things happened this week. I don't know whether it's a Mother's Day, Dr. C, coming up, or is it
it's Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day.
Next week.
Of course, and we will wish you a happy Mother's Day. Mothers are special people. It's your favorite show, it's Let's Be Real, and of course I'm with the esteemed panel of ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. C here, and I'm saying, but ni bachete? Ni wajete? I know. Ni bachete is I love you in Kisi.
Yes.
Ni wadete, I love you in Kikuyu. Nikwedete. And I hope you love me back, but my love language is money. Huh? So, you buy, here, Mother's Day is coming, right? So, I'm expecting you're buying Samantha wines. Ni wadete. I love you all.
Yes.
At least people have learned something, right?
They've learned something. And I am Maria Nyambane. I am so happy to be here. You know, every time we come here and meet and do the show, it's such a joyful moment to get not only to talk about real topics, but also to interact. And we've seen Dr. C has made it clear, different cultures, different tribes. Simon, you're past the culture of last week, right?
Well.
Good. I am an author, Marriage is a Scam and Love the Original You. And this week we are celebrating moms like me. I am one of them. So next week, actually, we are celebrating Mother's Day. So please, go buy your kids the Young magazine and just send us those SMS that you send the WhatsApp and tell us you love us because we love you so much.
Yes, I am also Simon Says. I can also even speak my name. So yes, I'm in connect with my culture. And indeed, I'm the content creator that makes content that makes you smile and think. But most of all, I keep it real with you in everything that I say. And right here on Let's Be Real, we're going to keep it real about a topic that speaks about the pulpit. Hey, Pastor, would tell us.
You know,
See here.
I go to church and I'm a member of a church. And I believe in God, I believe in Jesus Christ. Where my salvation, I say I believe in Yeshua Amasiah. You know, there's always a whole topic there. One day we'll discuss. Was the Bible right to translate the name of Jesus into Jesus? Because people do not translate names.
Oh.
You translate things, but you do not translate names. That's why Solomon remained Solomon in the Bible. Moses remained Moses. It's only Jesus' name which was translated from Yeshua to Jesus.
And what difference
So
does
Jesus' name
it
was
make?
Yeshua.
Yeshua Amasiah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that would have been a lot.
So
That's a mouthful.
we've been told Jesus all through, but in real sense, it was supposed to be Yeshua Amasiah.
So what difference were Jesus, Yeshua? So Yeshua, what's the meaning of Yeshua?
Yeshua in Hebrew, the name of Jesus is Yeshua. But remember, when you're doing translation, you do not translate names. You cannot translate Masitza.
But it means weeks.
Yes.
It can also mean Sunday
Yes.
in my culture.
Yeah, you cannot translate Masitza into a different name. You cannot.
So for those calling me Mary, stop.
You understand?
Well, I know a good friend, actually a colleague called Sunday. He's Zambian, yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, but that's an English name.
That's an English.
I'm saying traditional names cannot be. Otieno remains Otieno, even in translations. Mange. You cannot call Mange.
But
Mange.
English names you
or
can
Many.
translate.
No,
You can also call me Simon Many.
Yes, you can.
I'm Simon Mange.
But anyway, back to
Go
the
ahead.
topic.
Yeah, what's the point?
What I was saying is
Simon, you
that
have many words.
you cannot change the names are not translated. Individual names are not translated.
English names?
Those ones are English. Their culture, they can translate their names. But traditional name, Nyambane, you cannot call. Do you want to call Nyambane a different name?
No, I'm saying people call me Mary and I don't like.
You're supposed to be Maria.
It's Maria.
Yes. Yes, actually, yes.
So,
yes, let's stay going.
so now, this week, I know that pastor, by the way. It's
What's his name?
I went to one day. I was shooting a video for one of the artists who I try to help, and the pastor was gracious enough to allow us to use his church in Roysam. But I was so shocked because when I went into that church, have you seen the opulence? I was like, wow. Culture Ministries. I had a problem with the name Culture Ministries. But there was something which I could not tell, but I could see there's something totally amiss here. The cars his cars outside the church were like 4, and they were top range cars. I'm like, wow, the people who come to this church must be very, very rich. But when I sat and there was a service, I realized they're just an average in an area where economically they're not very empowered. So I was asking, where do these guys make all this money? You know, I went home thinking, really thinking hard.
To launch a church?
No, the cars out there were multi-million cars. The church was a multi-million building, and there was opulence everywhere. So we had an interaction with him. We talked, and then now recently I saw the stage a story by one of the newspapers saying that he's been running a scam on jobs of people who are going abroad. And then all these things started clicking back, like, wow. Because all this couldn't be typed. All this, either his father was very rich, or he was doing a serious business. Then I realized actually it's because of this. But I have a problem with men of God dabbling into dubious deals. I don't know, but it is there.
And yes, it's there, and I don't blame them. I don't blame the men of God if you're not doing something illegal, as long as people who are actually participating in the act are doing it voluntarily. And here's what I mean. A lot of times, we Kenyans, we put pastors and religious people on a pedestal. Hence, whatever they say is considered gospel truth. And here's, now I want to go a step further on this, maybe a different twist on it in this way. The issue comes when we place their word over the word. You see, now what happens is you're looking up them for interpretation of the word of God or whatever deity that you may actually be following. What happens is you are not actually looking at what? The word or the actual thing that the pastor is following as the ultimate thing that's above them. The moment you as an individual, you place the pastor's words over now the word of now God, be it the Bible, the initial thing, the foundation in which this thing that you believe in stands on, is when now you can actually be easily manipulated and diverted your attention to now say, come, bring me your 120,000 and I'll take your child to the US or Canada, mostly it was Canada, for further studies. And you will believe him because you placed him over the word. So now what happens, that's the part of now what happens when you actually now, it can be easily diverted into a cult or even easily diverted into something. Because you have placed my word over the word in which you're supposed to be following initially. And second to that is supposed to be the pastor. So the moment you do that is the moment now you're culpable to now being manipulated, being used. So your priorities should be set accordingly. So when you misplace priorities is when you become vulnerable to what? Usage. And that's a fact.
Maria?
Wow. So I think church should stop being a business. Like, people should stop treating church like, you know, when a church, you have a church as a pastor, you need another job, because that way is the only way that you can sustain a life that you want, or you can live your life without having to go to dubious means. Like, you will start, when your mind is free and your needs are many, you have to come up with ways to fulfill what you want. Because let's just say that becoming a pastor does not lower your bills. It's still the same. But if you are a pastor and you are straight, you are a pastor and I have a job, that this is a straight job, you people know. For example, I could be a lawyer and I start a church. Or I could be a cleaner somewhere and I start a church. But it is not shameful for me to do the right things, the right way, and still be a pastor. The problem comes when you are idle. You know, my only job is to pray for you. The only thing you will do, you will find the easiest means of making money. And most of the time, the easiest way of making a lot of money is not always right. And I know you can attract richer crowd, richer congregation. Nowadays, we even pay our offering with POS, like start ATM to pay offering.
Really, POS? The POS is out here?
You go for poverty churches.
He's going to a poor church.
You're going to a poor church. So if this pastor was doing a very straightforward job, it will not be an issue at all.
Well,
I did not know.
Yeah.
I only knew this POS is out here. Like, ding.
Yes.
What?
yeah. But I wanted to say, I completely disagree with you. What people need to understand and they need to know is that church has always been a business. In fact, it has always been a business from the get-go. You just need to go inside all the Roman Catholic, even the Catholic churches, for you to understand. You need to understand some of even the rituals that were introduced within the church itself to understand was to get more taxes, when the church ruled the world. Okay? So the church is always a business. And that's what people need to understand. So once they understand that, and these priests, these pastors understand it so well. To be a pastor, you have to be a great salesperson. And this pastor understood what you saw is that you need to give people something to believe in. You're selling prosperity. Why can't you prosper yourself? Show us how you're prospering. Therefore, they're going to be flamboyant, big cars, big buildings, big whatever it is in a big way. Therefore, somebody needs to finance it. Do you think they're going to rob a bank in broad daylight? No. Ni nyinyi tu, wale, you are going to pay for it.
And nobody wants to follow up.
Yes. So what shocks me, who wants to follow a poor pastor? So these pastors are in the business of prosperity. So for me, what goes out to, my heart goes out to, sometimes people become really desperate. Really, really desperate. They can just be duped into, and these pastors are using the desperation of people. Today in Kenya, we need jobs. We need to create jobs. And you see, the problem is there are people who believe in superstition.
Yeah.
They believe in, I'm not saying the miracles are not there, but you need to work. Action, faith without action. Even the Bible says that. And the Bible also says, my people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. Please, guys, even within the miracles, you must act. You must wake up, you must do. I know you woke up, you took action, you took money to this pastor. If he actually had no place to take you, he's a criminal and he belongs behind bars. And therefore, we are not here, we're not the jury, but I think so that the law should take its course. Rest my case.
See?
Very well. I think the other time I was looking at the places where you can invest. And a UK company was telling Africans that if you want to invest and get the quickest return in Africa is to start a church. It's one of the researches which was done. Because here, and especially in Kenya, people believe and trust the word of God. But some also people do not interrogate the people who are put to preach or teach them. So people follow what we call fake teachings. And also remember, many people are very gullible. I've always asked myself, the flip side of this is, you find someone going to a witch doctor. That witch doctor people go to is living in a shack and he's telling you, you bring me this money and I'll make you prosperous. Have you seen that stupid or warped logic?
Stupid, yes.
Come in walking backwards.
Yeah, you come walking in a shanty. You are driving a Mercedes Benz and you're going to a witch doctor. He does not have a bicycle. If you want to see how people's minds are warped, and then the guy tells you, bring this and this and this, you will be rich. First of all, you need to donate to that man so that he gets out of poverty. Because what he's telling you is poverty.
Yes.
It's poverty which is driving him to lie to people that he's a witch doctor. It is poverty that drives so many people to go to churches and not the word of God. If you go to church to look for the word of God and the truth, then you will not be swayed into
But
these
sadly,
other things.
But sadly, people don't want the truth. Nobody likes the truth. Even if it sets you free, but the truth will set you free and leave you there naked by yourself. Can you be there by yourself?
And that's what I'm saying. And that's why people go also to the witch doctors.
Yeah.
Because how do you tell me to go to a witch doctor? I'm well dressed like this. A guy who is sitting on the floor.
It's crazy.
And does not have a home.
Doesn't have a home.
But Dr. C, what do you think? But we were moving on. What is this cabinet secretary telling us about other things? Well, Moses Kuria changing things about government people?
Yes. Now, Moses Kuria has come up with this new directive that all the government people will have to be, number one, after the vetting, you're given a contract within a finite time where renewal will be based on performance. Yeah, and I'm just wondering, what do you guys think?
I totally agree.
Explain.
I totally agree. Because you find that some people are just paid, but they're doing nothing. But if your work is based on performance, you will push yourself and you will serve people. You will do the right thing. Because there are people who do not even report to work and they are on salaries. There are people who are, like we are complaining about basic things in the society right now, but the people are paid to do it. There is someone on payroll to do a certain job somewhere, but they are not doing it. It's true, they should be, especially these people working in government, they need that. They really do. Some people just take trips and trainings and just traveling around in the name of working, but their performance is not seen. This is a way for people's work to be vetted so that you can see their performance, and when they are paid as per that, you realize that everyone will be working.
Now, Moses Kuria has come up with a good idea, wrong intention. And here's what I mean. He has said this in the midst of the whole doctor's strike. And this is to divert attention to spreading the damage everywhere. And he said this in the pretext of your contract, even in life, even expires. So we all live and we all die. That's primarily what it is. It's a good idea, which is just an idea. It's a proposal. There's nothing concrete that is put to paper. There's nothing concrete that is actually being proposed. It's just going to be proposed where? In the cabinet secretary meetings. So there's nothing permanent that has been made. Now, the idea, let's not address the idea. The idea itself would be splendid. Now, he's not even put even time limits. We don't know if this is 5 years. Is it 3 years? Is it 1.5 years? Is it 1 year for the clerk? Is it 2 years for the people that you meet to go get birth certificates? Is it a different year for different departments because different procedures are arranged in different levels of government? Are we saying now every 5 years when new administration comes in, that means now everybody's fired all of a sudden? So there's so many other measures. But here's where I think if it's implemented correctly, which you can expect the Kenya government to implement it badly, but if implemented correctly, here's where it can actually be good. A lot of government personnel have a level of entitlement to their job. And it gives them a level of stinky pride in the sense that you cannot even be able to execute certain things as a simple thing as, I'm going to renew my ID. Not even renew my ID, I'm going to get a new ID because I lost it. I know very well that ID would take at least 1.5 months to 2 or 3 months if I do not give someone an extra kickback for them to implement a job. But if that person knows very well that when Maria or Simon comes from this service, birth certificates, for even a clearance form, for even a good conduct form, for whatever it is that you may need, for even a passport, which many people are lining up for, whatever service that indeed my job is reliant on how efficient I'm able to serve Simon, not reliant on how long I can make sure that I can give them a perception of I am actually working when nothing is actually being done. If I'm in results-oriented, like in the private sector, If you are not bringing in numbers, if you are not executing this, kijana, talk hapa. And that's the truth. But when that is not the standard, and I know very well, CEO, there's no way he's taking me. Umaria, there's no way he's taking me. I have a level of audacity to sit back and relax and say, who are you? We have seen many people like you come and go. That's what they tell those parastatal peoples who come into contract. You know, you heard them. We have seen many of you. You come and you go. Even if you earn more than me, I know mine. I'll be paid over a long period of time. I'm just waiting for my pension. And that's sadly the mindset of many government employees. And that's a big issue when it comes to execution of tasks that we many Kenyans cannot even get. Basic things, even when it comes to even health issues. Am I lying to you?
You see, I find this government too excitable sometimes. Too excitable in the fact that, and Moses Kuria is a very good friend of mine. When I was
You have many friends in high places.
Friends, in
when I
fact.
was in Form 1, and when he came for the interview, I was here, we had a conversation this week when Mijungo was interviewing him in the station, in KTN News. And we remembered when I was in Form 1, he was clearing Form 6. When I was a mono in school, we went to Thika High School together. So I know him. He's a man I know personally and when he was starting, and he's a very sharp guy. But I think the government is too excitable.
Explain. What's excitable?
There's something called the Employment Act. And the Employment Act spells out terms and conditions of employment. And if you want to change employment terms of an individual, there's a legal and a proper way of doing it. But also, you do not stem a rot from a system by saying, I will give these people only contract or contractual form of employment. Because if I know and I work for government and I'll be employed for 2 years, I will make sure that I accumulate as fast as possible. Because I know the chances of my contract being renewed is almost negligible. So what people do is that you have two different forms of employment. You have permanent and pensionable, but you also employ people on contract. Now what you do is gradually you reduce the permanent employees as you bring more contractual people. It is a system. That's how it's done. But this one, where I'm saying is excitable because it's excitement. You think that you'll walk in because there's a doctor's strike, and then you think that since I want to deal with the doctors, I want to sell fear to the public service and tell them that all of you will go home. It doesn't work. Secondly, our government is listening too much to the Bretton Woods institutions. We are listening too much to the World Bank without questioning the policies which they are supposed to be employed as a nation. We are listening to the embassies too much in how we are running the affairs of this nation. And you can see anything we say is either to please our donor funding or money where we are getting from the loans. And we are, like now, we've been told, that the Bretton Woods told us, devalue your shilling. The shilling has been devalued. They told us, your workforce is too big. We're going back to 1987, all the same when they brought the structural adjustment programs in Africa. And we didn't learn from it. It didn't work in Ghana in 1980s and 90s. It didn't work here in Kenya. Now we are excited with all these Bretton Woods institutions because they're giving us loans and we moved away from the East. Now we are following and saying, oh, you know what, we'll employ people casually, on contract. You can employ people on contract, but you've not taught them. Remember, we say that culture eats strategy for breakfast. The strategy they're employing is totally wrong. So we need a proper relook at how we are employing our people and also make sure that people are employed according to the skills. And if, Maria, you say that some people don't work, if you do not supervise people correctly, do you expect them to work?
No.
If the supervisor also leaves his coat and disappears, So the system is a problem that people do not, there's no way people are looking at each other.
And there's no means of punishment in case someone does not want to work.
Yes.
Yeah, so mine is very simple. I think that bus came and left, but we need to try and catch it up. You know, that limited term. You remember the time when there was a lady judge who pinched someone's nose?
Oh, yeah.
Kenya we were so ready for a good culture. We wanted things to change, that people could actually resign in office. It has never happened. Now she looks like a saint. The fact that she actually resigned just out of pinching someone's nose. You know, if I can see all the corruption cases judged and those people really put behind bars so that the corruption stops, I'm telling you, if we put all civil servants on a limited term, everyone will ensure when they are in that office, in that term, they eat to the maximum. Imagine nothing will be happening. The corruption that would be there.
It will be
Oh
intense.
my goodness!
Overdrive.
Can you people can you imagine? You know that because your job is not assured. So when you get into that chair, it's your time to eat.
You go to work with a budget.
It will be something else. Like, you know, we need
Go
to
to work
really
with a budget.
Yes, you go to work with a budget.
Yes, you go to work with a budget. Today I need to make this amount.
Yeah. So,
It's a bad idea.
Anyway.
Moses, Brother Moses. It's a bad idea.
in the spirit of going to work with the amount you are going to make, please work hard and make that amount the right way. We are taking a short break and we'll be right back on Let's Be Real.
The first session has been very interesting. Of course, we talked about pastors, we talked about the government and the jobs. And now, Maria, what do you have?
I'm always introducing the light stories. So, Pastor Burale, I went online to say that men can walk away from anything as long as they have peace. That the only thing men want is peace.
In the
Simon.
context of relationship or where?
Yeah, in the context of relationship. They walk out of everything as long as they want them in peace. So,
Exactly. That is the truth. And
What
that is
is your
it. No,
piece?
let me go further. Let me go further with this. Men, first of all, we know very well that indeed when you women should take note of this. Actually, let me even flip it. The women should take note of this. My lady, you are a problem to him. Okay? At the moment that he loves you, you are a problem worth solving. The moment it reaches the breaking point is you have overstepped your problem limit. So now, you have now become too much of a problem, which has become more of a burden. See, a man will love you to the limit in which you are a bearable problem, in which now your benefits outweigh the problem that you are. And we are problem solvers. We have a problem, you have a problem, you bring it to us. If you are with a man who cannot solve a problem, you think less of him. And that's a fact. So what happens is, when now you become when you overstep your limit of problems, and now you become overbearing, that's when that man will look for peace elsewhere. So ladies, please take note. Limit your level of being a problem to the man that you're with, knowing very well that you are probably not a solution in other aspects of things. So when you know you're lacking on this aspect of things, so just limit your level of being a problem to him. That's if you still want him in your life. But if you want him gone looking for peace somewhere else, well, guess what? Overstep your boundary of problems and you look for peace elsewhere. And men, you have to take note of this. A woman will always test you. She will always push the limit before she knows this is a line in which you don't cross. So men, even you, know the boundary and make it clear to her to know that indeed, so she can actually know your problems stop here. That's the truth.
let me tell you something, Simon.
That's the truth.
I know she was drinking fire.
Yes. Do you know that every action brings a reaction.
That's inertia.
Good.
Science.
So, for you to have met someone and decided, I am going to spend my life with you, you knew that this person was mentally okay.
To some extent.
You couldn't have gone to a some extent person. Whatever you wanted was a sober person, an adult who knew what they wanted, and someone that you explained yourself. This is me, this is what I bring to the table, and this is what you should take or leave. And that person did the same. They stood. Men are not looking for peace.
We're looking for problems.
No, they're just running away from the circumstances and the consequences of their actions. The peace you are requiring is, I don't speak when I've seen something wrong. The peace you need is, I just ignore that you're doing, and if I ignore, then I have neglected you. Like, and I get it, people will say that empowered women, and this is where I keep preaching, please, people empower men too. That is not the point. The point is, peace is there. If you need peace, do the right thing at the right time, in the right place, and in the right manner. And I kid you not, you have your peace. But stop running away from the consequences in the name of I'm looking for peace. Because I also need that peace. It's a good thing that when we argue, you're the one who leaves. I'm not the one who runs away. But then how do I run away when the children are crying in the house? I don't. So just because you have the privilege of running away to look for peace, or to run away from the consequences of your actions, does not mean that it's because I deny you the peace.
You are the problem.
Yeah.
Are you a problem to your husband?
No, actually, well, my husband aside, Burale is talking about weak men.
Yes.
Those are extremely weak men. Actually, a lot of the men I really like us. There's something quite romantic about that, right?
Yes.
Only that way. Because, yeah.
Why?
Yeah, yes.
No, those are guys.
So you know what?
boring.
You know, even in the story of creation,
Oh, Lord.
you know, the man had to be made to sleep for the woman to be created.
Uh-huh. So what does that mean? The man had to look
And
for peace.
this is what we are created. And then we come from outside. Here is the apple.
Mm-hmm.
Taste it. And then we were never meant to be. What peace are you looking for? You know, these are weak men who cannot lead their homes.
Yes.
You know why we were thrown out of the Garden of Eden?
Yes, why? Because
Yeah?
Adam did not.
So you know what? You know, because you men, you could not, from the word go, like, if you cannot lead your own family, we're talking about, if you cannot lead the woman in your life, you're just weak and you're running away from responsibility.
Yes.
You know? So there's nothing like that. Women, even there's a book actually that was written, Good Girls Don't Get the Corner Office.
I've read that book.
You see these problems? See?
It's very interesting, but first of all, I know that Burale Robert was unwell for some time. I hope he's much better now. He was in hospital. My brother, quick recovery.
Yeah, quick recovery.
But I think what the issue was dealing with about peace of mind is that men have a lot of things going on in their mind. A lot of things. You have to provide, you have to do all manner of things to make that family stand. And as a man, there are some, what we call the red lines, which you do not want even your wife or your partner to cross. And these red lines are mainly two. One is adultery.
But you can adult.
Disrespect.
Violence.
Repeat that again, the second one?
Two is violence. Because violence can mutate into either someone putting for you, even some things in food or poisoning and all that. So I think where violence is coming from is not from the normal fallout in the family, the normal fights. Those ones are the ones which make that relationships even stronger and people to know each other, to learn each other, to grow together. And those things you surmount and you succeed together. but there's always the deal breakers. And those are the two deal breakers in the family. And a man is always usually broken by either when a woman, the wife, he gets to understand that the woman has a boyfriend that is cheating actively or is being told and there's evidence. And that's why now it really disturbs these men and they walk out, and that's why they look for that peace. That peace is basically because of those lines which should not be crossed. And I'm not saying men should cheat. I'm saying that these are the deal breakers for men. And for a young man out there, you must know what is your deal breaker in a marriage. When you're getting married, remember it's all lovey-dovey, it's all good, it's all trips, it's all holidays, then the penny drops sometimes. And this woman realizes probably not so much, they're not good in bed, and she needs someone in bed. And then that's where you draw the line.
Or even something even further than that is, you know, sometimes we only think even adultery and everything. Even you could be even good in bed, and then now, but other things are also needed apart from that. Just because you're going to bed does not mean that she will stay.
Yes.
That's your fact. And that, you see, all of these things that we've mentioned, those are all what? Problems. From where? Hapa. Now the thing, that's what I was saying. And that's what I was saying. And that's what I was saying. And the main thing is, when you're talking about guys not running away from quote unquote accountability and all that thing, that you're saying they're quote unquote weak because they are not able to hold themselves and face up and lead, here's the issue. Men, that issue, it's hard to lead a problem that's actually holding on to you and now being more of a burden for you to see the foresight ahead. You have to remember, a leader is supposed to have the foresight to actually see the next steps that are supposed to be taken ahead. But when you're busy trying to take the next steps ahead, and now there's a problem here dragging you behind with other issues that now they deem that is more important than the actual journey that you guys have come on board together, that's when it becomes a real issue and that friction comes in. I have the direction for this way, but you're deeming this stagnant issue as the issue that we need to stop this journey, come back and address the issue, rather than actually you coming on board and saying, indeed, I can put off. Biggest issue that ladies have is putting off your own temporary need right now for the goal of this. Because a man, we already know, there are things that you have to forego for the sake of the family. Even as we proceed, there's also another issue that a lot of people had to forego, was KCB. You're trying to take a loan from them. Where you developers out here who was putting out houses all across Nairobi, you know, Kilimani is now looking like a jungle over there in Pipeline. Let me tell you, if you don't have the money, hey, KCB is coming for you. So what happened right now, there's a developer, I don't know, Great Wall. He was actually building up several apartments. Well, he did not have the money. And guess what? There were tenants staying in that houses. And KCB has now come and said, we're coming to auction your houses because you're not able to fulfill the actual payments for this house that was actually even brought up. Speaking as even as many developers out here, what are your thoughts on now people being auctioned out because of all the development that's going on around this city? Dr. C.
Well, it's quite a rampant problem. And I think people who are looking at investing in real estate, they should do their investigation. So on top of really getting a good lawyer, people need to understand who actually owns the property. We have seen many developers being auctioned because they have not paid the bank, because according to the law, if the bank has charged that property, the property belongs to the bank. So what happens is people go and buy into a development, either it's just at the beginning or it is finished. And because it's such a big development, you're told, oh, go and pay in that office. People don't even go and check. Yes, you've checked. This is the developer who owns this land. But check, it is charged by which bank? Now, does that bank know that you exist? So always ensure when you're buying from, this is what I've had to develop with myself in terms of if I'm investing, and I think a lot of lawyers will tell you that. If a property is charged, always go and ask that bank, like, what is the status? If you buy and the developer does not pay up, what does that mean for you? You will get your answers. Now, what you should do is to ensure you have a concurrent acknowledgement from the particular banking institution that if you pay your part, you will get a partial discharge. And they are aware, and every time you're making the payment, you're paying to that bank in an account that that bank gives you. So what happened in this case is that the purchasers bought from the developer. They put money in the account of the developer. Now, the developer technically does not own the land and the development. The real owner is KCB. So KCB will come and say, those are other things you are having, transacting. Technically, I own this property, and yes, legally, they will auction it, and those people will lose the homes. The last case that I knew about it was that, in fact, it was just on mercy, that the judge, it actually went before the court of law, and the judge said, ideally, this bank is allowed to sell. So the bank and the judge agreed that they allow the people who had bought the properties to finish off the payment. Oh. But ideally, you will lose your property because the ultimate owner is especially the banks that are charged to that. So unless that bank knows you have agreed, and they have agreed that they'll give you a partial discharge, imagine you will lose your money. What? And there is because the property belongs to the bank.
So, wow, that is, because then, with your information, because then a lot of these two developers will say that all these apartments, buy an apartment for 1.7 million, here we are. So then a lot of people who are buying into the real estate boom and everything could actually be transacting to someone else who indeed, and then they'll get themselves in an apartment that actually they don't own. Yes. And they can anytime now, when it reaches time has come up, now the bank wants to, the real owner comes to, you can be kicked out of your own place that you've known for a couple of years or even a couple of months.
But if the bank knows that you exist, the bank has given you, we are aware this developer, we have given him, we've charged that, but he can sell. Mm. If they told you put the money here, you can go and challenge them in court and say, I asked you that you are the owners. You told me to pay. Now, this particular person has defaulted, okay? Now, you know that I exist, so you cannot sell. And that maybe you can have some reprieve.
Wow.
But it's not even 100%.
Hey. But, there's a problem with real estate in this country. I feel so because people may have money to invest, but the knowledge out there is very limited. True. In all areas, from buying land to buying apartments to buying buildings. People may have the money. You've worked hard, you have the money. But that knowledge, a lot of people do not invest in the knowledge. Let me put it that way. Mm-hmm. And that's why you will buy a land today, it's in the river. Tomorrow you'll buy an apartment, it's not even the one who sold you is not the one who owns. The next day you bought a land, it's owned by 7 people. People may have, I feel the most important thing when you have the money to invest in property, be it anywhere or anything, take your time to do research first. And I know a lot of people don't do that because the person who is selling will tell you, niko na customer sita. They usually don't. And if they do, it's okay. You evaded a problem or it wasn't yours. Because most of the time, like KCB are not doing anything wrong, by the way.
Yes, they are legal.
Whatever they are doing is right. It's very legal. And maybe the defaulter, they could be going through something in that way. They could not meet the end of their bargain with KCB. But these people, if they really did not know, then the problem is with the real estate people who are investing, that they don't do their due diligence. And education is much more important than the money. So if right now you don't have money to buy property, do the research. When money comes, you'll be ready.
And it's very easy to know. You just go and check. You go and check at the Ministry of Lands. Yeah. Very quick search, it will tell you it is charged. So follow up with the bank that has charged it, because that's the owner. It's not even the developer. It's very easy.
So I always say that I don't know why people complain a lot, because number one, if you're going to the bank, just remember the bank is not your friend.
Oh.
That's
Yes.
rule number one.
Yes.
The bank has never and will never be your friend. The only relationship you have with the bank is transaction. It's money. You either put money or you borrow money, and if you don't pay, they come for you.
Full
That's
stop.
why there's no friendship there. Now, this gentleman, when he was building these houses, he took money from the bank to purchase the land. Then he took money from the bank to develop. It is important for Kenyans to understand that if you see a big development going, no one has money he has put in his banker. When he's building from his own pocket. Unless you are what we call the old money from the mountain region. What we call the brothers who started in Muranga, who have billions, who can build a house from scratch with their savings. But 90% of any development you see, if it's not proceeds of corruption, money laundering, or
Others.
it is strictly a loan. So you must go and do your due diligence, the way Dr. Sia said, and realize that this bank is the owner of this property. And if you're going to pay, ask for a letter which allows you to pay directly to the bank that money, so that you safeguard, you are buying a unit. You'd rather say, I'd rather go pay to KCB,
Directly.
so that you have that receipt from KCB. So you offset that guy's loan, but you paid KCB directly. When they come to auction, your unit is safe. Otherwise, you are doing stupid business.
That's a lot of us Kenyans, because we lack information and actually even proper direction on so many things.
But I want to say something.
Yeah.
About the bank charged properties, because a lot of people are scared when they see, oh, it's charged on the bank. A lot of people run away. Actually, when a property is charged by the bank, it is the safest property to buy, because
Why?
it means, because the bank does a lot of due diligence.
Yeah.
A lot of, even if you have 100% of the money to buy cash, always just go and get a small little loan from the bank. Even if a property is going for, say, 50, 100 million, or even 20 million, you can just go and get, okay, give me the 5 million loan. Number one, it gives the footprint. In case anybody ever comes and says that, oh, this was my property, and because now you can say, in this year I took a bank loan, and that is in the lands registry.
I have a question
Yeah.
for you. So it means that if I want to buy land, before the bank gives me a loan, they must do due diligence for the land on my behalf
Yes.
before they give me the money.
And their due diligence is so thorough. Let me
Comprehensive.
tell you, the bank does not want to lose money. So I see a lot of people, they're scared to buy any property that is bank charged. Actually, that is if you find a property that is not charged to the bank, be very careful. Like you have said,
I'm never
a
buying
lot of
property
people,
without a bank.
90% of the people use bank loans. So unless there are proceeds of, and a lot of really rich people, we learn how to use other people's money. We call it OPM, other people's money.
Yeah.
It means there's no pride in using your own money.
Never.
Yeah, you go and get other people's money. It's a good debt. It's what we call good debt. That's what we use, and that's what rich people will use to get rich. You never use your own money. Why use your own money when you can use other people's money?
SK, not SK, the late...
Kiyosaki.
Yeah, not Kiyosaki. Even the guy of International Lifehouse, Chris Kirubi,
Yeah.
when he was building, it's called Two Rivers or...
Two Rivers,
Two
yes.
Rivers. He took a loan.
Yes.
But he had money in the bank which could build 10 Two Rivers.
That's key.
Yeah.
See, but even what you
Actually,
mentioned,
it's
what you've just
very
even
important.
shown is that indeed, when you're ignorant of information, you can make a lot of prime mistakes. And a lot of Kenyans think that because you built this house, that indeed you have that it's your money that you've used, when in fact it's other people's
stupid
money.
to use your
So
own
guys,
money.
now you've been informed and be well aware, because every single one of us have kept it real this week, Bwana. Happy new month, by the way. Happy new month. Yes, exactly. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
It's been real, and of course, happy Mother's Day.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week is when we are being wished, CEO. That one I
the
want you to
entire-
It is
listen
the
next
first
week.
Sunday. Mother's Day is the first Sunday of every.
But it's on 12th this
Of-
month.
in
12th
May.
this
It's on
month.
12th this month, yeah.
On 12th this
Yeah,
month.
it's on
It's
12th.
on
this-
12th.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
today
exactly.
is 5th, so it's on 12th.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wish you next week then.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hopefully.
Look at me digging for compliments.
You mean you're getting a bottle of Samantha wine?
It's been real, we've kept it real. Keep watching and give us a suggestion what topics you want us to discuss. All discuss.
Yes, thank you.